In one of General Hospital's most searing and emotionally turbulent weeks to date, the town's steadfast matriarch, Mayor Laura Collins, finally reaches her breaking point and unleashes a storm of truth that sends shockwaves through Port Charles and through the GH fanbase. Behind the scenes, a real-world scandal begins to bleed into the fictional world as Laura, Jeannie Francis, confronts two prominent male characters, played by Charles Mesure, Brennan, and Chad Duell, Michael Corinthos, for their irresponsible behavior that has had catastrophic ripple effects. But is this confrontation simply a scripted shake-up, or is something deeper brewing behind the camera? As Jeannie Francis takes center stage in an emotionally charged performance, fans will see a dramatic blend of art imitating life, with rumors swirling of real-world tension on set. Let's dive deep into the unfolding drama both in front of and possibly behind the scenes. The week opens with a gripping scene in the mayor's office. Laura Collins stares at the mounting evidence on her desk: photos, reports, and encrypted data linking Brennan, Charles Mesure, to a covert operation involving manipulated government funding, illicit international arms deals, and several missing Port Charles citizens. What pushes Laura over the edge isn't just the corruption, it's the silence, the inaction, the cowardice. A flashback reveals a private conversation Laura had with Michael Corinthos, Chad Duell, 3 weeks prior, in which he confessed to being aware of Brennan's manipulations but withheld the truth to protect Willow and Wiley. Laura's voice cracks in fury as she replays his words in her mind. "Protect your family," she seethes. "You chose to protect your comfort over innocent lives." By Wednesday, she calls for a closed emergency meeting at City Hall with key players: Curtis, Anna, Dante, and Robert Scorpio. But the real shocker is who she leaves out: Michael and Brennan. The mayor is no longer playing diplomat. She's ready to burn bridges if it means saving Port Charles from the rot that has festered in its core. Michael Corinthos has always walked a thin line: corporate prince, mob adjacent, son of Sonny Corinthos, yet always managing to don the white hat when necessary. But Laura's words strike deep. She accuses Michael of moral cowardice, and for the first time in years, Michael doesn't have an answer. "You knew Brennan had access to sealed files in the WSB. You knew he ordered the shutdown of the Harborview surveillance. You knew Ava was being targeted and said nothing." Laura's words echo across the city as she publicly censors Michael in a press release, hinting that the city's most influential family has knowingly harbored corruption. Michael, feeling the heat, turns to his father Sonny for guidance, only to be met with an icy dismissal. "You didn't protect the family. You let someone else use them as leverage. You failed," Sonny says with unmistakable disappointment. Meanwhile, Willow stands torn. Her recent medical relapse makes her want to rally behind Michael, but the revelations are too hard to ignore. Especially when Laura reveals Brennan's link to Willow's own medical records being accessed without consent. While Brennan continues to run covert WSB operations in the shadows, the tension turns meta. Rumors begin to swirl in the GH production community about Charles Mesure's recent absences, alleged creative disputes, and whispers of resistance to certain storyline directions. Though officially unconfirmed, insiders suggest that Mesure's character was supposed to undergo a redemptive arc, something Jeannie Francis reportedly opposed, arguing it would reward betrayal and villainy without consequence. Behind the scenes, sources claim that Mesure may have expressed discomfort with certain emotional scenes, particularly with actors like Finola Hughes, Anna, and Jeannie Francis, leading to speculation of unprofessional rigidity and limited availability, disrupting the storyline pace. This week's episode seemed to reflect a narrative decision to pivot hard. Brennan is no longer shown as the morally gray anti-hero but is exposed as a fully rogue agent operating under a false identity. Laura reads aloud to Anna and Robert a chilling document found in Brennan's briefcase. Project Aegis, target, Port Charles infrastructure, objective, system collapse. Viewers are shown a shocking flashback montage linking Brennan to the ship explosion that almost killed Joss and Trina last month. The truth is undeniable. As Laura's storyline builds to a boiling point, those close to the show suggest Jeannie Francis had input into how the confrontation with Brennan and Michael unfolded. A longtime advocate for stronger female agency on the show, Frances reportedly pushed for Laura to have a moral reckoning moment, where she stands above both the criminal and the complicit. This week's Explosive Thursday episode features a nearly 10-minute, uninterrupted monologue by Laura. In it, she addresses the city council and Port Charles residents. "We have been too silent for too long. When our sons bend the truth to protect their privilege, when leaders like Brennan hide behind secrecy to strip us of safety, and when our own children choose comfort over courage, we are lost. I will not let this city be lost." Jeannie Francis is already generating Emmy buzz for the performance. Viewers flooded social media within minutes of airing, calling it a once-in-a-decade soap monologue. As pressure mounts on Michael, Chad Duell delivers a powerhouse performance that shows Michael unraveling, caught between guilt and legacy. In a haunting scene in the Quartermain crypt, Michael sits alone, speaking to his late brother Morgan's gravestone. "I thought I was doing the right thing. I thought keeping quiet would spare Willow. But I was wrong. I've failed her. I've failed Wiley. I've failed everyone." Brooklyn later finds him collapsed, emotionally drained. This opens the door to a new arc, Michael finally confronting his internalized need for control and seeking redemption through transparency. Backstage, sources hint that Chad Duell has taken recent time off and was offered a mini sabbatical to recalibrate. The storyline is reportedly serving dual purposes, pushing Michael into a vulnerable, self-reckoning phase and possibly setting the stage for a temporary recast or break. By Friday, the climax of the week explodes in City Hall when Brennan attempts to address the council with a forged clearance document. Laura, unfazed, interrupts him with evidence from Jason. Yes, Jason, who has returned undercover with files stolen directly from the WSB. With Jordan Ashford's help, Brennan is apprehended live on air, broadcast across all Port Charles news outlets. The final shot shows Brennan staring into the camera, emotionless. "You think you've won, Laura," he whispers. Port Charles is already compromised. The screen cuts to black. Just when it seems the week can't get more dramatic, Spencer Cassadine returns in the final moments of Friday's episode. Having followed leads in Europe, Spencer brings back proof that Brennan had been using the Cassadine estate's offshore holdings to funnel funds, and that Michael had unknowingly helped sign off on them through YelQ subsidiaries. This revelation could change everything again. Amid fan frenzy and record ratings, showrunner Frank Valentini reportedly issued new directives to all cast members, a zero-tolerance policy on storyline disruption and off-script improvisation without directorial approval. While Charles Mesure's future remains unclear, insiders believe Brennan's exit arc is already being written. Meanwhile, Jeannie Francis has reaffirmed her commitment to the show through 2026, and her creative influence may only continue to grow. Some speculate this marks a new era, one where Laura Collins, not Sonny Corinthos, becomes the true moral compass of the show. In a week full of betrayals, moral confrontations, and consequences, General Hospital doesn't just shock, it elevates. Jeannie Francis, Chad Duell, and Charles Mesure are at the heart of a storyline that forces characters, and maybe even the actors themselves, to reckon with irresponsibility, accountability, and redemption. As fans await the fallout next week, one thing is clear: Port Charles will never be the same again.